Lindsey Büster. I'm a postdoctoral research associate at the University of York, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about the genesis of some ideas that I've recently published in a paper. The idea for the paper, which is all about problematic stuff, really stems from the inability of archaeologists to categorise and interpret some of the material we find in the archaeological record. We often think about archaeologists digging up the rubbish left behind by past societies, but we know that actually some of the things that we excavate were very deliberately deposited and meant to be buried. And traditionally, two categories of this material would be grave goods deposited with the dead, and hoards, so caches of high quality, shiny, exotic objects, perhaps given as gift to the gods or for safekeeping and never returned to. But there's also a class of artefacts, and this is particularly true on domestic sites in later prehistoric Britain, which is one of the areas in which I specialise, where we find groups of quite mundane artefacts, not particularly high material value, quite everyday, quite domestic objects, deposited in caches under roundhouse floors, in walls, so kind of in the places where people are carrying out their daily lives. And this kind of material has often defied interpretation. We know it was deliberately deposited, but we don't really understand why. And I happened to be working on a project where we were interviewing people in contemporary society about their experiences of death, dying and bereavement, and trying to use archaeology to open up some of those discussions, which can often be quite difficult for people. And it was really interesting that the stories that people were telling were of the transformation of these really mundane artefacts, a jar of Horlicks that was bought from the supermarket, or a pair of shoes which didn't fit and were worn out, being transformed from these completely everyday mundane items to really problematic things once someone had died. They weren't useful to the bereaved relative, but these people just couldn't throw the stuff away. And I wonder if all of us have things like that, maybe not from deceased relatives, but maybe things from our childhood or from our teenage years, or parents with toddler clothes. We've all got those boxes of stuff in the attic, in the cupboard, under the bed. And I thought, well, if this is happening in contemporary society, there's no reason why the same problems didn't face people in the past. And it led me to think that actually some of these deposits of artefacts that we find in the archaeological record that are mundane and are domestic and that we can't categorise either as grave goods or as hoards may well represent this problematic stuff. So the problematic stuff paper is published this week in Antiquity, so it'd be great if you could check it out.